If you walked into a movie theater in the 1950s, you'd see a man on screen who seemed larger than life itself. Tall, broad-shouldered, walking with that distinctive swagger. A cowboy hat, a gun on his hip, squinting into the desert sun. His name was John Wayne. But he wasn't really a cowboy. He'd never been in a war, though he played soldiers. He wasn't even John Wayne, he was Marion Morrison, a kid from Iowa who became the symbol of American masculinity without ever actually being the man he played. This is Duke's journey from a struggling prop man to Hollywood's biggest star, from avoiding World War II to defining what America thought a hero should be, from playing tough guys to dying from the cigarettes that made him look tough. This is the story of a man who became an idea, an image, a myth. And perhaps for the first time, you'll see the uncomfortable gap between John Wayne the icon and Marion Morrison the man. May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa, Marion Robert Morrison was born. His parents, Clyde and Mary, were middle class. His father was a pharmacist trying to make a living in small-town America. When Marion was young, the family moved to California, chasing opportunity like so many did. They settled in Glendale, just outside Los Angeles. Marion was a big kid, tall and strong, but he had a ridiculous name for a boy. Marion. Kids teased him mercilessly. He got a dog, an Airedale Terrier he named Duke. Marion would walk that dog everywhere. Neighborhood people started calling him Big Duke, and the dog Little Duke. The nickname stuck. Marion became Duke. It was the first transformation from Marion to Duke, from the name that embarrassed him to one that felt like strength. Duke was a good student and a star football player at Glendale High School. Big, athletic, popular. He got a football scholarship to the University of Southern California in 1925. USC Trojans. He was going to be somebody. Maybe play professional football. But in the summer before his sophomore year, bodysurfing at the beach, he got injured. Shoulder injury. Not career-ending, but bad enough. He lost his scholarship. Couldn't afford tuition without it. Just like that, his football future was over. He was 19 and lost. Through a football connection, he got a job at Fox Film Corporation. Summer job moving props, building sets, working as a general laborer on movie sets. It was supposed to be temporary, just until he figured things out. But Duke never went back to school. He stayed in the movies, doing whatever work he could get. Moving furniture, herding horses for Western films, standing in crowds as an extra. He met director John Ford on the USC football field. Ford loved football and recruited players for action scenes. Ford took a liking to this big, quiet kid, started giving him small parts. Tiny roles, uncredited, but it was something. Through the late 1920s, Duke worked constantly but anonymously. Bit parts, stunt work, anything. In 1930, director Raoul Walsh saw him and thought he had the look for a leading role in a big Western epic called The Big Trail. But Marion Morrison wasn't a movie star name. The studio changed it, tried several options, settled on John Wayne. Strong, American, memorable. Marion Morrison officially became John Wayne in 1930. He was 23. The movie was a massive production, shot in an early widescreen format, huge budget, and it flopped completely. America was in the Great Depression. Nobody went to movies. John Wayne's big break became a disaster. For the next 9 years, John Wayne was relegated to B-westerns. Cheap films cranked out quickly for small theaters. Poverty Row productions. He'd make 6 or 8 films a year for almost no money, playing cowboys and heroes in forgettable movies. He was working constantly, but going nowhere. Just another tall guy in a cowboy hat in an industry full of them. He married Josephine Saenz in 1933, had 4 children with her. needed the money from those B-movies to feed his family. But he was miserable watching his career stall while other actors became stars. Then, in 1939, John Ford called. Ford was making a Western called Stagecoach, with a real budget, real production values, real ambition. Ford wanted Wayne for the lead role of the Ringo Kid. The studio objected. Wayne was a B-movie actor, not a star. Ford insisted. "I can make him a star," Ford said. And he did. Stagecoach came out in 1939 and was a massive hit. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. And John Wayne, at 32, finally became a star after 9 years of struggle. That iconic entrance, Ford's camera tracking in on Wayne spinning a rifle, that confident swagger, introduced America to the John Wayne they would love for the next 40 years. The 1940s made Wayne a superstar. More westerns, war films, as America entered World War II. Flying Tigers in 1942, The Fighting Seabees in 1944, war movies where Wayne played heroic soldiers. But there was a problem, one that would haunt him forever. John Wayne never served. World War II was raging. Every major male star either enlisted or was drafted. James Stewart became a bomber pilot. Clark Gable joined the Army Air Forces. Henry Fonda enlisted in the Navy. But John Wayne got deferments, first because he was married with children, then because Republic Pictures claimed he was essential to the war effort, making propaganda films. He was 34 when Pearl Harbor happened, technically eligible. He talked about enlisting, wrote letters about it, but never did. Instead, he stayed in Hollywood, making movies about heroes while real men died overseas. This bothered him for the rest of his life. He'd made a choice, career over service, and it haunted him. After the war, when the real veterans came home, Wayne overcompensated, became super-patriotic, super-American, super-masculine. Joined the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals, a conservative anti-communist group. During the 1950s Red Scare, Wayne was vocally anti-communist, supported the Hollywood blacklist that destroyed careers of suspected leftists. He became friends with Senator Joseph McCarthy. His politics became as much his identity as his movies. But his movies were incredible. Red River in 1948, playing a hard, tyrannical cattle driver, showing darkness and complexity. She wore a yellow ribbon in 1949, Aging Cavalry Officer, one of Ford's cavalry trilogy. The Searchers in 1956, playing Ethan Edwards, a racist, obsessed man searching for his kidnapped niece, maybe Wayne's greatest performance, showing the darkness inside the heroic image. Rio Bravo in 1959, Howard Hawks' masterpiece. Wayne was the biggest box office draw in America through the 50s and 60s. Not the best actor, he knew that, but the most reliable, the most iconic. When people thought American hero, they thought John Wayne. His personal life was messier. Divorced Josephine in 1945 after years of affairs. Married Esperanza Baur in 1946, a Mexican actress. That marriage was a disaster. Fighting, drinking, violence on both sides. Divorced in 1954. Married Pilar Palette in 1954, had 3 more children. 7 kids total across 3 marriages. He was a difficult man to live with. Drinking heavily, smoking constantly, 5 packs a day at his peak, working constantly, controlling and traditional, in his views about women and family. In 1964, doctors found a cancerous tumor in his lung. They removed his left lung and several ribs. The cancer was caused by decades of heavy smoking. Those cigarettes that made him look tough on screen were killing him. He recovered, went public with it, became a spokesperson for cancer awareness. But he kept smoking. Couldn't quit even after losing a lung. By the late 1960s, he was Hollywood's elder statesman, a living symbol of old Hollywood and old American values, in a country that was changing fast. The 60s were turbulent. Civil rights movement, anti-war protests, counterculture. Wayne represented everything the young generation was rejecting. He was vocally pro-Vietnam War at a time when that was becoming unpopular. In 1968, he directed and starred in The Green Berets, a pro-war film that critics destroyed and protesters picketed. But Wayne didn't care. He believed in it, believed America was right, believed in supporting the troops, believed the protesters were wrong. This made him a hero to conservatives and a villain to liberals. America was dividing, and Wayne was on one side, loudly. In 1969, he finally won an Oscar. True Grit, playing Rooster Cogburn, an old, fat, one-eyed marshal. It was a sentimental win, Hollywood acknowledging his entire career. He hobbled to the stage, visibly old and sick, and gave a brief, emotional speech. He was 62 and looked older. The cancer was coming back. The 1970s were his final act. Made a few more films. The Shootist in 1976 was perfect, playing an aging gunfighter dying of cancer, saying goodbye. Life imitating art. In January 1979, doctors found stomach cancer. It had spread. He had surgery, but it was too late. Spent his final months in and out of the hospital. Body ravaged by decades of smoking, and now, cancer everywhere. On June 11, 1979, John Wayne died at UCLA Medical Center. He was 72. His last words were reportedly, "Of course I know who you are, you're my girl, I love you," to his daughter Isa. His death was front-page news across America. President Carter released a statement. Congress authorized a gold medal in his honor. Thousands mourned. But the mourning was complicated. Some mourned John Wayne, the actor, the icon, the image of American strength. Others noted John Wayne, the man, the draft avoider who played soldiers, the hard-right conservative who supported blacklists, the symbol of a masculine ideal that was oppressive to many. The gap between image and reality was huge. Today, John Wayne remains controversial. His films are classics. The Searchers is considered one of the greatest American films ever made. But his politics, his 1971 Playboy interview where he expressed racist views, his aggressive support of the Vietnam War, all this complicates his legacy. Airports are named after him, statues erected, but also calls to remove those statues to acknowledge that the man was far more flawed than the myth. What's undeniable is his impact. For better or worse, John Wayne defined American masculinity for generations. The strong, silent type, the cowboy, the soldier, the man who did what needed doing without complaint. Millions of boys grew up wanting to be like him. Millions of men measured themselves against his image. He wasn't real. He was Marion Morrison playing a role. But the role became more real than the man. And maybe that's the point. John Wayne was always a performance, and America loved the performance so much, we pretended it was truth. An empty Western movie set. Dusty street, false front buildings, complete silence. A cowboy hat sits on a hitching post. The sun sets, casting long shadows, and if you listen carefully, you can almost hear it, that distinctive voice, that slow drawl. That'll be the day. But there's no one there. There never really was. Just an image, a shadow, a performance that America fell in love with. Some men live their lives. John Wayne lived a role, and in becoming the role, Marion Morrison disappeared entirely. Maybe that was the plan all along. So how do you remember John Wayne? As the American hero who defined a generation's idea of masculinity? Or as Marion Morrison who built a career on an image that bore little resemblance to the man underneath? Share with us in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another journey through Hollywood's most iconic and complicated figures.